The night everything finally exploded, it didn't start with screaming. It started with silence. The kind of silence that feels louder than any argument. One post disappeared, one ring was missing, one comment got deleted, and suddenly, fans everywhere felt it in the gut before they even knew why. Because with 90 Day Fiancé, breakups don't just end, they detonate. And tonight, I need you to stay with me, because these weren't normal breakups. These were emotional car crashes, public betrayals, and love stories that burned so hard they left nothing behind. I remember the first time I realized how deep this chaos really went. I was scrolling late at night, half awake, and I saw a clip resurface. A couple smiling on their wedding day, promising forever, swearing they'd fight the world together. And then the comments hit me. They're done. He cheated. She moved out. This was all fake. And I just sat there thinking, how does something go from that much hope to total destruction? Because these weren't just reality TV couples. These were people who packed up their lives, crossed oceans, left families behind, all for love. Or at least what they thought was love. Some of them had nothing but a suitcase and a dream. Some were running from past trauma. Some were chasing validation they'd never had. And when it fell apart, it didn't happen quietly behind closed doors. It happened in front of millions of people who felt entitled to every detail. Now I know what some of you are thinking already. Reality TV is fake. They knew what they signed up for. I hear that. I used to think that too. But the more I watched, the more I read, the more I saw the raw emotion behind the edits, the harder it got to believe these were just actors playing a part. These people cried real tears. They lost real relationships. Some of them lost themselves. And before we get deeper into this, if you're the kind of person who stays up late rewatching old seasons, reading comments, trying to figure out what really happened after the cameras stopped, you're my people. Hit subscribe. Not because I'm chasing numbers, but because we're going to keep telling the stories that don't get wrapped up with a happy ending montage. Because here's the truth. The most explosive 90 Day Fiancé breakups didn't happen all at once. They cracked slowly. They broke in layers. And every layer hurt more than the last. At first, it always looked like love. That's the first layer. The fairy tale phase. Airport reunions, tears, awkward hugs, nervous laughter. Two people convincing themselves and the world that this time, it's real. For some of them, this was their escape. From poverty, from loneliness, from a life where they felt invisible. You could see it in their eyes. The hope wasn't fake. It was desperate. And that's what made it dangerous. The second layer came quietly. Culture clashes, money fights, control issues, one partner holding the visa over the other's head like a weapon. You wouldn't be here without me. That sentence alone destroyed more relationships than cheating ever could. You'd see it in small moments. Someone rolling their eyes, someone shutting down mid-conversation. Fans started noticing. Reddit threads popped up asking, is anyone else uncomfortable watching this? TikTok clips went viral with captions like, this isn't love, this is power. But the couples kept smiling for the cameras, telling everyone they were fine. Then came the third layer. Secrets. The stuff that never made it into the episodes. DMs from strangers. Old exes reappearing. Financial lies. Criminal pasts that somehow never came up. This is where things started leaking online. Instagram stories posted at 3 a.m. then deleted. Tweets that said everything without saying anything. Sometimes the truth comes out when you least expect it. Fans went wild. Comment sections turned into courtrooms. Everyone picking sides, everyone convinced they knew the real story. But here's the part nobody was ready for. The fourth layer wasn't about betrayal. It was about humiliation. Breakups that happened publicly. Engagement rings returned on camera. One partner crying while the other stared coldly into space. Tell-all episodes that felt less like closure and more like emotional execution. You could see it when someone's voice started shaking, when their hands wouldn't stop moving. These weren't rehearsed moments. These were people realizing, in real time, that their relationship was over and the world was watching. Twitter, or X, exploded every single time. I feel sick watching this. No one deserves this. This is abuse, not entertainment. Others were ruthless. She used him. He deserved it. Memes flooded Instagram. TikTok creators reenacted the fights like they were jokes. And I couldn't stop thinking about how surreal it must feel to lose the person you loved while strangers argue about who ruined it better. And then there's the fifth layer. The one that hurts the most. The aftermath. The part that doesn't make it to TV. Depression, isolation, regret. Some cast members disappeared from social media entirely. Others spiraled, posting emotional lives, crying, oversharing, trying to control a narrative that was already out of their hands. Friendships collapsed. Families got dragged into the mess. Kids were caught in the crossfire. And suddenly, the breakup wasn't just about two people. It was about the damage left behind. One former cast member admitted later that they stayed longer than they should have because they were scared of looking like a failure. Another said the show made them ignore red flags they would have never accepted in real life. That's the part that stays with me. How many of these explosive endings could have been avoided if the cameras weren't there, if the pressure to make it work wasn't so intense? I know what you're thinking, but wait until you hear this. Some of the most chaotic breakups didn't even end when the relationship ended. Years later, the bitterness was still there. Subtweets, shady captions, new partners dragged into old drama. Fans would comment things like, "Aren't you over this yet?" But trauma doesn't follow a season schedule. It doesn't end when filming wraps. One breakup in particular still haunts fans. A couple that looked solid, almost boring compared to the rest. No screaming, no obvious red flags. Until one day, the truth dropped like a bomb. Cheating accusations, receipts posted online, one partner claiming emotional abuse, the other denying everything. No clear villain, just two broken people telling completely different versions of the same story. Reddit was split down the middle. TikTok comment sections turned toxic. And the saddest part, you could tell both of them were hurting in ways the internet didn't care to understand. That's when I started asking myself questions that still don't have easy answers. When does entertainment cross the line? How much of this chaos is real, and how much is amplified until it becomes unbearable? And if you fall in love on camera, do you ever really get to fall apart in private? Some fans say these explosive breakups are the price of fame. Others say no amount of followers is worth that kind of emotional destruction. And honestly, I go back and forth. Because I've seen cast members rebuild their lives, find real love off camera, heal slowly. But I've also seen the ones who never fully recover. The ones who get remembered only for their worst moment. What makes these 90-day fiancé breakups so different is that they're not clean. There's no clear ending, no final goodbye, just layers of pain, exposed one episode, one post, one comment at a time. And every time a new season starts, the cycle begins again. New couples, new promises, new red flags fans swear they can spot instantly. Yet we keep watching, hoping this time will be different. Maybe that says something about us too. So let me ask you this. When you look back at these explosive breakups, who do you really feel for? The person who left, the one who was blindsided, or the version of them that believed love was enough to survive anything? Do you think the chaos was inevitable, or do you think some of these stories could have ended differently if the spotlight wasn't so unforgiving? Because once you've seen how fast love can turn into public heartbreak, it's hard to watch those airport reunions the same way again. And the next time a 90-day fiancé couple says, "We've been through worse, we'll be fine," remember this. Every explosive breakup started with someone saying those exact words. And sometimes, the most shocking part isn't that it ended. It's how much it destroyed on the way out.